So I know what you're thinking. Wow, the kid who would be king had Woody Woodpecker in it? I never knew that before. Yeah, we'll touch on that in just a second. You're welcome to Time About the Movies, everybody. It's January 25th, 2019, and the original plan was to do 2 movies, which we're still going to do those 2 films, but before we get to those, of course on this show, I am prone to making mistakes. I've made a lot of them on this show, but recently I was watching, again, Action Point, my review for that back in June of 2018, and in that video I was talking about Woody Woodpecker, the live-action movie based off the Universal icon, the mascot, but, I didn't realize until well after I did my 2018 leftovers that I completely forgot to talk about that movie, and it is a notable movie because it is one of the worst movies I saw in 2018, so I figured because this week is relatively very slow, and considering the next show is going to be a double weekend episode again, might as well cover it here first. So before we get to this week's new releases, let's talk about the 2018 Woody Woodpecker movie. I'm sorry, the 2017 Woody Woodpecker movie, because it was released in theaters in Brazil. That's right. The movie that I saw first in 2018, came out here in the States in 2018, was actually released in theaters in Brazil. What you just saw right there was supposed to be a theatrical release. Let that be the first of many of the problems with this movie. I mean, this movie is pretty notable around here because I did a rewatch of I did a first-time watch for this on the YouTube channel, and let's just say that it's actually one of the highest viewed videos I've ever had on this channel, and yeah, my reactions to that were pretty bad, and so if you want to go check that out, there's that on the channel, to click a link in the corner. But if you want to see my full thoughts on this, let's go ahead and dive into it, because yeah, this one, this is bad. This is really, really bad. So in this movie, you have a divorce attorney who has a son that he has from his ex-wife, and a new girlfriend who wants to build a dream home in a forest in the mountains of Washington, only to find out that he is cutting down a tree in which Woody Woodpecker lives in. Woody Woodpecker being played by Eric Bauza, a prolific, great voice actor, who of course is notable now as the voice of many of the Looney Tunes characters. And yeah, this movie in particular, the trailer alone was pretty weird on its own, and the word on the movie since its release was that it was really, really bad. And I had originally kept away from it, but I found it at a Toys R Us. They were just about to go out of business, and I figured, you know what, now would probably be the perfect time to watch this. And I was going to watch it originally for an April Fool's Day video, but I held off and waited for the summer special of terrible movies I was going to do for the website. So I waited, and yeah, that video you saw is my full, honest reaction to it. It's bad. I mean, it's pretty bad. I mean, right from the beginning, this has some of the most cartoonish-looking redneck hillbillies you will ever see. And guess what? They're the bad guys of the movie. They are so bad that you really have to pull a double take and wonder who are the real cartoons here, the Woodpecker or the hillbillies. Like, they're also taxidermist poachers. So, I mean, but let's be honest, they're redneck hillbillies. I mean, they literally look like redneck hillbillies. And you also notice that the movie begins, and Woody's voice, it's a great, I mean, Eric Bauza does a pretty good job as Woody Woodpecker here, but his voice feels like it was recorded inside of a box. Like, it sounds like this, you know? It sounds like he's stuck in, like, a porta potty or something like that. It just comes off as something unusual, because whenever Woody talks, it's like he's encased in something, like he's in a glass case or something like that, you know, a glass case of emotion, if you will. I mean, that's the best way to record that voice overall, and like I said, Eric Bauza does a good voice of Woody Woodpecker. He does capture the manic persona, and there also is a bit of a pro and con to Woody as pretty psychotic in this movie, which, that's what we loved about the character from the classic cartoons. That's the point. But there are literally scenes where he takes joy in nearly killing everybody on screen, which, on the one hand, that's Woody Woodpecker for you, but unfortunately, it's Woody Woodpecker in a generic Alvin and the Chipmunks-esque movie, because this really is an Alvin and the Chipmunks-esque movie. Right down to the lame human characters that make Jason Lee in the Alvin and the Chipmunks movies look like a better person by comparison. Because, yeah, the main guy in this, Timothy Omundson, who I have no idea who he is, except the fact that he was on Psych, on USA, like, his character is all over the place. He starts the movie off as a real estate lawyer after he wins this big case for his firm, and then gets fired after a video of him chasing wildlife conservation is unprofitable, goes viral, which you try to explain that to me. if that's really all it takes to get fired from your high-paying job, then more people should be fired that way. And then he just decides, I'm going to build a house and flip it out in the middle of the forest, because reasons. And then there's something about his ex-wife's kid coming along for the ride, and they don't ever explain it. Nothing about this movie is ever explained. Like, there's a park ranger that's supposed to be kind of a romantic interest, but every time she comes on screen, I couldn't tell if she was a teenager or a grown adult. You have this singer Talia, who's in the movie, and she's the most annoying actor in the entire movie. I mean, every time she is on screen, she is just trying way too hard to be like Sofia Vergara. And Sofia Vergara can be very funny, but whenever you put her in a bad movie, like, and just give her nothing to do except to just be a loud Latina, yeah, that's what happens with this woman here, except it's not a Latina, it's a Brazilian. She's gone halfway through the movie. They have her doing stuff in this movie that doesn't make any sense. There's a scene where Woody turns on the gas inside the trailer that they're staying in. It blows up, her hair gets all messed up, and she screams so loudly that the glass literally breaks on the screen. Like, how is that even possible? It doesn't make any sense because most TVs don't have glass screens anymore. We live in an age of digital projection with LEDs and all that, and like, even for the theatrical audiences in Brazil, it makes no sense. But she's gone, and then all of a sudden, now it's the love interest, it's the love between the guy and the park ranger, and it's just like, and most of the gags in this movie don't make a whole lot of sense, and a lot of them are already date stamped before the movie even comes out. They even try to cram in lines where, you know, because Black Panther was so popular at the time, there's literally, when they're talking about Woody's origin, the park ranger just adds in Wakanda because, you know, Black Panther's popular, so why not throw that in there? But they cram in so many pointless and stupid gags, like swiping left, hashtag, or it's my ringtone. And it's like, the movie is so lazy to come up with gags that it's not even funny. The script is terrible. If Yogi Bear has a better script, Yogi Bear has a better script than this movie does. And that script is about as generic as you can get. And if you can't come up with a script to go up to par with Yogi Bear, then you have messed up big time. There's even parts of the movie where it makes no sense, like the bad guys are trying to run away to Canada, so they're going to head for the border, right? No. It turns out, where they're at, there's a little narrow creek where that apparently has an easy access to Canada through this fence, and it's through this yeah, it's a fence, but it's just like it's kind of like a barbed fence, not a barbed wire fence, but like what's the a metal fence? I'm just going with that for right now. But the point I'm trying to get across is that there is no place on the border from the United States to Canada that has an opening that small and nobody notices it. That makes no sense whatsoever. And even on the DVD, the runtime on this is so odd because when I watched the movie, it was a 94-minute film, but it's not 94 minutes. It's an hour and 30... The DVD runtime is an hour and 31 minutes, but that's wrong. It's an hour and 18 minutes. So why would there be 13 minutes worth of credits here? Well, it's not that at all, because there's only 6 minutes worth of credits, but even if that was it, no, this thing decides to go one step further because this movie has the balls, the audacity to throw in the last 7 minutes of this is a Woody Woodpecker cartoon from the 50s, Niagara Fools. This movie is basically ending with a cartoon just to barely get this to feature length. That's how lazy this movie is. And it's not like a bonus feature on the DVD. No, it's part of the movie. It throws this much better cartoon on at the tail end. You know, the Woody Woodpecker that you want to see to try to make you forget about the stupid mess of a film that you just watched. And that's the best way to really describe the movie, honestly. It's a stupid mess of a movie because it tries to make Woody Woodpecker, who was Universal's mascot for over 60 years until the Minions came over, and then all of a sudden they took over. And it makes it... This movie tries to make Woody Woodpecker the most unfunniest and annoying thing on the planet. But if you watch those cartoons, like I did... I grew up with the 90s Woody Woodpecker show. I grew up with the cartoon from the classic cartoons. I mean, it's great that I have MeTV Tunes because I can watch Woody Woodpecker every day if I want to. You know, Woody Woodpecker is funny. And by watching this movie, you would think he's more annoying than the Minions. Which is probably why Universal even greenlit this, to make the Minions from Despicable Me seem saner and more sensible than Woody Woodpecker is. Which, to be fair, I mean, the Minions have made much better movies than the Despicable Me films have. But that's not the point I'm trying to get across here. The point I'm trying to get across is that Universal threw Woody Woodpecker out the door, just like how Warner Brothers threw Looney Tunes out the door. I mean, the Coyote vs. Acme debacle, the Day the Earth Blew Up debacle. I mean, the more I think about it, I don't hate this movie because the actual movie is one of the worst things I've ever seen. I think that I hate this movie because it's more of an insult to Woody Woodpecker as a character. It takes a character who is legitimately funny and has some great classic cartoons and turns him into something more annoying than the Minions. And you know what? That is a damn shame. That's like if Warner Brothers took Bugs Bunny and the Looney Tunes and turned them into the annoying characters to make Teen Titans Go and the new Powerpuff Girls cartoon at the time better by comparison. You're insulting beloved cartoon characters by making them so unfunny than they actually are. And it just goes to prove how these studios treat the classic characters nowadays. Because it's just like, you know, you still see it with Warner Brothers nowadays. Like, they still hate the Looney Tunes that they don't even want to put them on their main streaming platform. They have to have companies like Tubi come in and stream the Looney Tunes. And guess what? The Looney Tunes have never been more popular on streaming because of Tubi. You know, we're getting Coyote vs. Acme in a couple weeks. That would have never happened if Warner Brothers just simply released the movie they were going to release. But no, there's clearly something that Warner Brothers hates about their characters, and Universal probably feels the same way about Woody Woodpecker, because you never really see them do anything with him except for those cartoons that came online later on down the road, which, I mean, at least there was, I'll give it this, there was at least a better Woody Woodpecker movie that came out a couple years later that went straight to Netflix, but that one felt more like what the Woody Woodpecker franchise should be like. It wasn't a movie that was just about these lame characters making annoying the main stars of the movie annoying as hell. That one actually was made by people who knew what they were doing. It wasn't great, but it was certainly a lot better than this movie was. This is a bad movie. This is a really terrible movie. I don't think it's one of the worst things ever, but I really hate it mostly because of what they did to Woody Woodpecker. It's just a waste of time, plain and simple, and it's a movie where I feel so bad for this character, because this character deserves a lot more respect and better treatment from a studio than what they try to do with him with this movie. Just, it's bad. So, there you go. That's the first 12 minutes of this episode, ladies and gentlemen. But anyway, let's go ahead and get to what you're really here for. Let's get to a much better movie that came out this particular weekend, and that is The Kid Who Would Be King.
King Arthur, Luke Skywalker, Harry Potter. It's always the same. Something amazing happens, and they find out they're descended from powerful families. Mum, don't freak out. That's me.
An evil army will rise from the dead, and you must stop them.
Who will join us?
You're a king.
Alex, better be in bed.
The Kid Who Would Be King, rated PG.
Yeah, this is definitely a very underrated gem of a movie, man. This movie is a lot of fun. And of course, because it was released in early January, nobody went to go see it. And it really sucks, and it lost the studio $50 million. And it's notable for being the second to last release by 20th Century Fox before Disney picked him up. The last one's going to be Alita Battle Angel, coming up in a couple of weeks. But so in this movie, you have a young boy who finds King Arthur's legendary sword, Excalibur, and must use it to stop an ancient enchantress from enslaving the world with the help of his classmates and former bullies from school. And it never really got the proper respect it deserved back then. It really was a very good film, and it was a movie that really, you know, Joe Cornish definitely... I'm thinking of Joe Wright, sorry, I'm thinking of the wrong director here, but Joe Cornish, of course, is the director that gave us Attack the Block, but this movie overall is really good. It's an inventive, original concept. You know, you have a movie here that has a ton of great talents all across the board here with some great young talents, and also features Patrick Stewart and Rebecca Ferguson. Finally, a movie that actually is using Rebecca Ferguson instead of just using her as an object, pretty much. But the film overall was really good. It's a solidly fun fantasy family adventure film in the same vein as something like an 80s classic like The Neverending Story, or even a little bit of The Night at the Museum mixed in with both of them. Like, it's a good film. It's a really intelligent film. It doesn't insult the intelligence of the audience in particular. It's not talking down to kids and all that. It's a really good film. It's a really damn good film. Very underrated film. One I highly recommend checking out if you haven't seen it already. The Kid Who Would Be King. Seek this one out. It definitely deserved a lot more attention than it got back then. So, with all that said, let's go ahead and move on to our last movie that we have here. And boy, is it a doozy. You thought Woody Woodpecker was bad? I mean, it is bad, but it's nothing compared to this abomination of a film. Let's talk about Serenity.
Not since Hitchcock has there been a mystery that runs this deep.
I'm gonna kill a man today.
On January 25th,
My husband. He's by the way.
I'll give you $10 million and drop him in the ocean for the sharks.
I've got the big day tomorrow.
I know all about your big day.
Clement, everybody knows everything. How do you explain that?
Bill, will you have yourself a good day now and do what's right?
Matthew McConaughey, Anne Hathaway.
You don't.
Serenity, rated R.
Oh, you have some nerve and audacity to call yourself something on the same level as fucking Hitchcock. Just fuck you on that first stand. But yeah, this movie... But then again, this movie turns out to be bad for the reasons that you think it does when you have a director like Stephen Knight, the same man that basically ruined A Christmas Carol later on in the year, which... I don't know if we'll get to it on this channel here, but we'll do it later on down the road here. That's something that needs to be talked about for how bad that was. But no, Serenity, this movie is awe-inspiring for how bad it is. So you have a fishing boat captain, played by Matthew McConaughey, who was approached by his ex-wife to murder her abusive new husband, played by Jason Clarke. His ex-wife being played by Anne Hathaway. You also have Diane Lane, Jaimin Hansu, and Jeremy Strong. And even in that trailer alone, you can see the problems of the movie in general. Like, it's all over the place in terms of the tone, in terms of the twist it takes, the bad twist it takes. I mean, this movie is gonzo nuts, and not in a good way. No, this movie is an all-around disaster. This thing, you know how bad, here's how bad this movie was. The company that put it out, Avrion Pictures, shut down after this. They shut down all the marketing, and then they shut down not too long after this. After poor test screenings. That's how bad this movie was. This is awe-inspiring how bad this is. Because, again, nothing about it makes any sense whatsoever. There is not a single thing going on in this movie that you understand. And everyone in this movie is either a cliche or sexual object. I mean, all the women in this are either a cliche character that knows what's going on, or a sexual object just to get naked. I mean, that's literally what this is. And I would accept that in any other movie, but not in a film like this, where literally nothing is going on that keeps you invested whatsoever. I mean, we've gotten so many of these movies as of late. You know, Collateral Beauty, The Book of Henry. There's a couple of other ones, too, that we've touched on. I can't remember off the top of my head. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can think of one. I mean, if you even want to go back in time a little bit here, let's talk about stuff like Endless Love or Independence Day. Those the 80s movies, like, Windy City is another example, where you think it's going to go gonzo nuts, but it's the complete opposite. It's completely fucking boring. But those are the type of movies that this film is trying to be like. A movie that just goes off the rails and just has nothing of value to it whatsoever. I mean, you have a film where everyone is just playing it straight, and then the rest of the movie and everyone else that's not the main stars has no idea what they're doing here. Like, you just saw at the end of that TV spot there, of a woman there who is like, Matthew McConaughey is being serious and trying to give a good performance here, and then this lady's just like, well, that's okay, man, you go ahead and have yourself a good time here. Like something like that. It makes no sense, and there's just so much insanity in the movie, in the representation of this movie. Like, it's an awe-inspiring mess of a film. I mean, this thing is a disaster on so many levels. Nothing about it makes any sense, and what shows up in here is just let's just throw shit at the wall and see if anything will stick. And the problem is, nothing sticks. This movie is terrible, it's a mess, but then again, you expect that from a director like Stephen Knight, who has made a lot of stuff that I do not like. You know, he did, he did Allied, he did Burnt, he did Seventh Son, he did, The Girl in the Spider's Web recently, which was not that great. I mean, this guy is not a good writer whatsoever. And at one point, he was a good writer. He did write a lot of stuff I liked. Eastern Promises, The 100-Foot Journey. He did Peaky Blinders, of course. He later went on to do stuff like Spencer, the Kristen Stewart Princess Diana movie, which I thought was good. But then you get something like this, and especially something like A Christmas Carol 2019, where it's just like he has no idea what he's doing. Like, it's just like, who would trust him to direct a film like this and come out with a good project overall? When you're a studio trying to make your name noticed, this is not the way to do it, because, yeah, it made your name noticed as a studio that should be shut down immediately. And like I said, they shut down almost not too long after this. About a year and a half later, they shut down after this. I mean, that's how bad this company was so poorly put together. But yeah, this film is just a mess. It's a disaster. It's terrible. Avoid it like the plague. I mean, even as a so bad it's good movie, I wouldn't even tell you to watch this movie. It's just so nuts it's so nuts it's boring at the same time. You try to figure that out with this film, because I'm still trying to figure out why this movie was so terrible, even after all these years of seeing it. But Anyway, that is Serenity for you. If you want a good Serenity movie, watch the one based off of Firefly, the 2005 film. Not this steaming pile of garbage. And thus, with all that said, we wrap up another episode of Time About the Movies, and just like I said at the beginning, we're going to do another double weekend, because on Super Bowl weekend, there's only one new release coming out, and quite frankly, I really don't want to do a full episode just on Miss Bala, the Gina Rodriguez remake of the 2011 movie, which I'm trying to remember if I actually reviewed the original. I want to say yes, I did, but I saw the newer one, but yeah, it's not that great. We'll talk about that. But then we'll get to the weekend of February 8th, which has the much bigger slate of films, including the long-awaited sequel to the Lego Movie, the Lego Movie 2, the second part. We have one of the few gender-reversed reboots that actually worked, Taraji P. Henson starring in What Men Want, the remake of What Women Want, which starred Mel Gibson. We have Liam Neeson in yet another movie, Cold Pursuit. We have another bad horror movie in The Prodigy. And is that it? Just those movies? What's this one here? Okay, it's one I don't know about, but yeah, just those 5 movies in particular. Miss Bala, Lego Movie 2, What Men Want, Cold Pursuit, and The Prodigy. We'll take a look at those 5 films. That'll be coming up tomorrow on the show, and I hope you will join me for that. With all that said, though, thank you so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please go ahead and do me the honors of hitting that like button, that subscribe button, and that notification button. Also, don't forget to check out our playlist, and don't forget to check out the previous episode we did. So with all that said, whether it's in the past, the present, or the future, I will see you at the movies. Take care. Bye.